My husband, 34M, and I, 32F, been together for 6 years and now have a 10-month-old baby. I moved out here to the Bay Area from the East Coast for him and our life together. I feel as is, I have made a lot of sacrifices on my end, and am starting to become resentful towards my husband and in-laws. For background context, I come from an immigrant family raised poor and have done very well for myself. I was the first one in my entire extended family to go to college and still the only one to be a collegiate athlete. I have worked since I was 14 at any hosting waitressing gig that I could find. To this day, I still help support my family financially as most eldest children of immigrants do. Regardless, I managed to save up $250K by age 27. I fell in love with my husband at that age and decided to move out to him after a 1.5 year of making long-distance work. We were both on the same page of what we wanted in life with family, etc. My now husband, however, is a white male with a relatively privileged background in comparison. Moving 3,000 miles from everything I knew was hard for sure, but I jumped in and made it work and found a way. After moving to California, I found a good-paying job in a new industry's career I wanted to pursue after only 3 months. Quickly, in 5 years, I'm now able to make annually what I had originally saved up. As I'm sure everyone knows, affording living in California is no easy feat, but with my large lump savings, it has allowed us to become homeowners. After having a baby, however, the stress of finances and reliable help has heightened. Daycare for a 40-hour work week is $3,000 to $4,000 a month in my area. And as hard as I've researched, there is nothing, and I wish I was exaggerating, under $2,900 a month. Before taxes are taken out, that is easily the equivalent of a $60 to $70K job. My mother-in-law is a retired preschool teacher of almost 40 years. Part of the reasoning of my move was to have my MIL around to help raise our babies. She seems like a perfect fit, right? We weighed out all 3 options: move to him, move to me, or move somewhere new entirely. We both wanted to be close to family and decided that my husband's place would be the most ideal. He also kind of guilt-tripped me into agreeing that since they were older than my parents, and it's best to spend more time with them, as we'll have more time with my mom later. My MIL, however, is the most passive-aggressive person I have ever met. But only to me. She has 2 sons, and I am married to the youngest. She doesn't have a good relationship with her other daughter-in-law, but would literally suck her duck to get her approval. I have always gone above and beyond to be kind and giving to her. In comparison to her other daughter-in-law, I am a complete 180. She has a key and an open-door policy to my place. I converse and spend time with her for hours, and I constantly cook and or buy dinner for them on a weekly basis. I am thoughtful and buy all the family's presents for all holidays and birthdays. When the men are around, she is the sweetest thing, but when it's just us, always throws the most jabs at me. From saying things like, "Oh my, you sure you're not going to break your ankle in those, or are you just trying to get attention? Wow, more food, are you trying to make me fat, outdo me? Is that new? I've never seen it. You have a shopping addiction, hee hee." To even, "I'm not sure we need you around here making us look bad. You sure you don't miss the East Coast?" I take it in the chin with a smile on my face, and always change the subject, as I was always taught to not talk back to my elders. My husband told that she was going to take care of the baby once it's time for me to go back to work. Weeks before that time came, she started talking about how busy she was with volunteering and sending daycare recommendations our way as a hint. When her and my husband had that talk, everything seemed fine as she started watching the baby 5x a week. I'm the one who does the drop-off and pick-up, however, and I have to hear it every day, 2x a day. To her son, she only says how happy and lucky she is to get to spend time with her granddaughter, etc. To me, she is saying how it takes up so much of her time and it's boring watching a baby. My husband doesn't even believe me. After sacrificing my family, which I miss so deeply, my friends, and even my passion in life, which was coaching youth sports, just to jump in the corporate BS world, because I recognized quickly that's what it would take to live comfortably out here. I am drained. All my money, time, efforts, and energy have gone into him and his family pretty much. and I can't even get the support I was promised. Honestly, it would have been easy for me to just buy a house straight up for $250K on the East Coast, have no mortgage, just coach and make a little money. But it was what made me happy. Have my mom around who would happily help with our babies around. Instead, I've given it all to this man for this situation and for my MIL to constantly complain about how much I do for you, instead of recognizing how much I've done for her son. It infuriates me. My mother would view this as a privilege, not a burden, and cries every time we have to FaceTime. My MIL has asked me to take a day or two off work every week, or make sure you try to be here by 2 when my show starts. And I'm at a breaking point. I've been sneaking into work late and getting out early for months now just to ease her load. But I'm struggling at work and it's noticeable in my results now. I also make more money than my husband by 6 figures and have the financial pressures on my back. One day I snapped back with, "That's something you're gonna need to talk to your son about," and all hell broke loose. My husband came home pissed that I had said so many derogatory things to his mom, shamed her for not being a good enough caretaker, the works. She then said she needed space, and I took a week off work in order to take care of the baby. I went to try and smooth things over with her after a couple days and found her incredibly hammered at 9 a.m. in the morning. Stumbling on her words and feet, my Phil came out looking mortified and tried to hide her back in her room. I figured she was upset and left it at that, only to try to go back the next morning to the same thing. After talking to my husband, he finally tells me that she is a struggling alcoholic and has been for 50 years. He says, but she's a functioning alcoholic, so she just needs to get this intense period out of her system. She'll bounce back. The rage and disbelief I had with both the situation and my husband was out of control. Was she drinking while watching the baby? You knew about this and put our daughter in that situation? To save money on daycare, you let our daughter there knowingly? Functioning WTF? Was all her BS a way to get distance so she could drink? The more I thought back, there were definitely days where I just thought she was more loopy than others. Was that her drinking a moderate amount? After talking to my SEAL, it was, and she has been drinking every day without a day off for the last 20 years. And that's why they had a tainted relationship. I didn't talk to my husband for days and started looking for other homes on the East Coast closer to my family. After a couple days, I sat him down and only said this: here are other homes we can move to, or you get another job to cover the bills, or I'm reporting all of you to CPS, and there's no more us and our family. It feels harsh. So am I wrong for bluntly dropping this ultimatum on my husband?